So there are slight differences though, and I think one shoe is better at one thing than the other. So in today's shoe comparison review, we've got two super trainers that are doing things a little bit different to the other brands. So we've got the new Balance Balos up against the Mizuno Neo Vista. So I'm going to go through their similarities, their key features and their differences, and hopefully from that, that's going to give you guys a great indication of choosing the right shoe for you. But before we get into it, a big shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So with our specs, two neutral super trainers here, and as you can see there is a bit of a price mismatch of which shoe is more expensive in which country. So they both change over, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. And as you can see there in the weight, there is a little bit of difference in the weight, but you can't really tell because they are both really well balanced shoes. So the Mizuno Neo Vista doesn't really feel that much heavier than the Balos because they both feel pretty light on the feet if you ask me. Now again, big difference in the stacks. So, but again, you can't really feel that because both these shoes have got really unique geometry, so they're pretty similar to each other. So I think it's just where they take the measurements from and what specs they put out. But yeah, they don't feel that different. And because of this wacky geometry both these two shoes have, it's really hard to tell the difference in the drops. And with our uppers here, so two very different designs going on here. So more of a traditional theme going on in the Balos, but in the Neo Vista, so the material that they use here is a stretch knit and it's all one piece. So it's just a booty design. It doesn't have a separate tongue. Now this knit, it's quite thick. However, I haven't found it being a hot shoe. So the breathability is still okay. There is no structure at all in the heel counter and there is no padding in this shoe whatsoever, which I was a little concerned about. However, after my first runs, didn't have to worry about it because this shoe is extremely comfortable. So as you can see there, we've got a really high Achilles flare and a really high sort of shape where it goes up to the tongue. So to get your foot in the shoe, you just sort of pull back on those two areas and your foot just slips in. Now with no padding in the shoe, no padding around the tongue, you would think that your foot might flap around in there. However, this knit is shaped or contoured just nicely and it provides a great hold on the foot. So the lacing system there for me is just there for show. I barely need to use these laces because the knit just secures my foot perfectly in this shoe. But with our laces, they've just got a cable sewn each side on the knit and the laces just sort of weave around each side. And as I said before, the lockdown in this shoe is excellent. In the fit, I'm going to say true to size, and the toe box, it's actually quite roomy. So lots of space in here, especially through the toe box, but it's quite secure through the midfoot, just where you want it. Now, build quality in this shoe is absolutely amazing, and the stepping comfort, again, is exceptional. Now, with our Balos, as I said, very different design here. It's more of a traditional looking upper. Material that they use here, it's a creel mesh is what they call it, and it really reminds me of the material that they use in the Super Comp Trainer V2. So same color as well, so maybe I'm just getting put up by that. But this mesh feels really robust and thick, or in general, this shoe feels really robust and thick, like it's really hardy, built to last. Breathability in this shoe is okay as well. I haven't had any issues with it. We've got a solid heel counter here though, and we've got this big puffy cushion right on the Achilles here. Now we've got a lot of padding around the heel collar there. I'm going to say a medium to a plush amount. We've certainly got a big plush pillow on the back here, and we don't have any padding on the tongue. However, we've got a stretch knit tongue, and it is a great feature of this shoe, and it does a great job of, again, just like the Neo Vista, of holding the foot down on the shoe itself. Now, with our lacing system, we've got a bit of a standard lacing system here, so there's no issues with it. Again, you don't really have to use it or cinch it up tight. Well, I don't have to because this shoe has got such low volume in it, so the tongue just really holds you down really securely in the foot. So I haven't had any issues with the lockdown. The laces are quite thick as well, and they feel really robust like the rest of the shoe. Now, the fit in this shoe, I'm going to say, is weird. That's what I said on my first impressions review, because yes, the volume in the toe box, the volume of the shoe in general is just really low. It's like a really squished down shoe, really hugs you tight like a race fit. And so from that, you would feel like the shoe is too small for you. So I've gone half a size up in this shoe to negate that. And again, it doesn't feel too long for me at all being half a size up, but it did give me that little bit of extra room in volume, which I needed. Now the stepping comfort in this shoe, again, is absolutely amazing. Pretty much the best on the market, just like the Neo Vista. And build quality for a New Balance as well, it's pretty good. And with our outsoles, well, these two shoes have to be the softest outsoles on the market. Well, I'm going to throw in the New Balance 1080 as well, but these two outsoles are buttery soft. And obviously being that soft, they're going to come into some durability issues. So with the Neo Vista, they have got those, you can see there, it's complete rubber coverage. Anything that's hit the ground has got rubber on it. But this rubber compound, it is really, really soft, and it obviously doesn't take anything away from the ride. It's not segmented or anything like that, but it doesn't have to be because it's so soft and compliant. Now, I've got a fair few Ks in the Neo Vista. I think I've got well over 200 Ks, but I absolutely love this shoe. And as you can see there, I've pretty much worn the rubber flat up in this section, like this whole entire section. And I've worn through just down here, around that heel, the highway area at the heel as well. And I can sort of see some foam burning through there as well. But it hasn't affected performance at all, even though there is showing some signs of wear. The grip in this shoe is excellent. So this really soft rubber compound, no dramas whatsoever. And we've got a huge cavity through the bottom of the shoe there, as you can see, and that's the exposed plate that I'll go on to shortly. But yeah, there is not that much foam sort of under the plate itself because it's got this huge cavity, and so this, whatever foam there is between the plate and the road, it actually can compress really, really easily. And in the Balos, so what we've got here is virtually no rubber on the bottom of the shoe. There is a couple of pieces of rubber, so the black pieces are the rubber compound, so right up on the toes and in the high wear area at the rear on the outside. Now, this other color that you can see, it's like a bit of an off green, and that's these compartments here, like these big pods. Now that is rubberized EVA, and it is just really soft. So it's not as soft as the foam underneath, but it's almost as soft. And yeah, it's just got these big pods on the bottom of the shoe. It sort of reminds me of what's on the bottom, or the tread pattern that's on the More V5. But yeah, this outsole is incredibly soft, so squishy, so compliant. It's lucky it's got the rubber in both the places where I show most of my wear on my shoes. So I've shown most of my wear here and also up here, and that's where it's got the rubber. But I've probably got about 50 Ks in the Balos, but the only signs of wear that I have got is really on the rubber. The old rubberized EVA is actually holding up quite well. Grip in this shoe, again, it's excellent. It's just this soft compound, so it's really sticky, really tacky on the roads. I haven't really given it a good test out in the wet conditions yet. We haven't had much rain here. But overall, no real dramas with the outsole, but I can only foresee some durability issues. And in the midsole, so both these shoes certainly have to have some of the softest foams on the market as well. So in the Neo Vista, they have got, well, it was a brand new foam when this shoe came out. It's the Mizuno NXT foam. Now, there is two layers of this foam, so they've got a top layer, and then under that, they have got their glass fiber infused wave plate. That's to give this shoe a little bit of rigidity, but it's not a carbon fiber wave plate, so it's still got some flex in it. As you can see there, it's still got a bit of flex, a good amount of snapback, but I think it's just right, just not to make this shoe too stiff. It's just right, just to hold this Mizuno foam nice and steady to get that efficiency on your run. And under that, as we had a look before, we've got another layer of that Mizuno NXT, and there's less of it, and yeah, it's just nice and compliant. Now, the real magic in this shoe, along with the foam, is the geometry. So it shares that smooth speed assist geometry that you'll see in the Rebellion series with the Flash and the Pro. However, it's toned down, it's not as aggressive. So we've got a bit of a heel bevel going on here, and the fattest part of the shoe is in the middle, And then we've got a really early stage rocker that just gets you rolling forward, sort of no matter what pace that you're doing. Now in the Balos, we have got a really similar geometry going on as well. So I think the Balos, I'm not sure if it's copied the Mizuno, but yeah, I've never seen a New Balance shoe with this sort of geometry in it. But the foam that they're using in this is a new super foam. So it's a Fresh Foam X, but it's got a PEBA blend in it. I'm not sure how much PEBA's in it, but it really brings this Fresh Foam to life. So it still has that softness of Fresh Foam, but it's turbocharged with spring and bounce. Now, within this shoe, there is no plate or anything like that. So no carbon plate, no nylon plate, no wave plate, but it's still rigid. So it's still a really rigid shoe, but not as rigid as that. But considering it's got no plate, it's still got a fair bit of rigidity, but this shoe does have a little bit of play left and right. So it does feel quite natural. Now, geometry-wise, as I said before, it's got a pretty aggressive heel bevel, just like the Neo Vista. And again, it's got this really early stage rocker. So no matter what pace you're running, you can really get on it and you can really feel it. So as soon as you're jogging the shoe, you're just rolling straight onto the rocker. It's really a great sensation when you are running in this shoe. And again, the meatiest part of the shoe is right in the middle. So a lot of shoes, these not a traditional shoes, they've got a really big stack in the heel. But these, both the Neo Vista and the Balos, their meaty parts are right sort of in the middle of the shoe, sort of under where the ankle is. And in our ride, so for me, I think these two shoes are probably the most enjoyable rides on the market. They both are very familiar and share lots of characteristics. So there are slight differences though, and I think one shoe is better at one thing than the other. So both these two shoes are soft. So probably the softest shoes on the market. Both are bouncy as well. But in the bounce department, I think the Balos has got more bounce than the Neo Vista. Now, both these shoes feel very smooth, but I think the Neo Vista is the smoother feeling shoe. I think the rocker is just a little bit better engineered, more so than the Balos. So it's just a smoother roll through than over the Balos. Not taking anything away from this, but this thing is amazing. Now, in the efficiency department, this is where I think the Neo Vista reigns supreme. This shoe just ticks the legs over effortlessly, and I think just that outsole with the wave plate and just the rebound. So there's not too much bounce in this foam, and there is a lot of squish, but it doesn't make the foot work too hard to get through the foot strike and onto the next one. So this shoe for me feels extremely efficient. It is great at the long run, and it really just does save your legs. So it really is easy to run in this shoe. But with the Balos, so for me, I think your foot works just that little bit harder in this shoe over the Neo Vista. It doesn't have the plate, and it just and because this foam, it's so bouncy and so wild and so poppy, I think your foot just works a little bit too hard just to stabilize itself to roll through to the next foot strike. So it doesn't roll through as easy as certainly the Neo Vista, but this one has certainly got more bounce and more fun. It's a bit more wild, the Balos, over the Neo Vista. But again, both these two shoes are so much fun. I wouldn't consider either of them unstable for me, but I am a pretty neutral runner, so I don't need a lot of stability, but none of them feel really wonky or wobbly because they are such soft shoes. And best use for both these two shoes, so for me, they both shine at the same runs. So both amazing for your easy days, both amazing for your recovery days, both amazing for your long runs. However, I'm going to lean towards the Neo Vista for the long run, just for that efficiency factor. I think the foot works a little bit too hard in the Balos. However, it's still a very fun long run shoe. Now, can these two shoes pick up the pace? Yes, they can. I think they're okay up to that tempo pace, but anything faster than that, I think when you're going into threshold or race efforts, I think they're a bit too soft and they sort of don't give too much back to warrant them to be speed shoes. But under that, yeah, they can pick up the pace. They feel okay. So just wrapping up my thoughts on these two shoes. So again, They are really the most enjoyable, fun rides on the market. I absolutely love it. There's so much softness, so much bounce, so smooth. But just remember, this one for me is just that a little bit more efficient than over the Balos. Where I think both these two shoes can improve is certainly in their uppers, because their uppers I don't think are going to get along with everyone. I think if they put a more of a traditional upper on this Neo Vista, it would be absolutely amazing. And I think with this Balos, I think if they just, again, gave it a more traditional shape in the upper, so they increased the volume in it and maybe trimmed it down a little bit so it's not robust, I think, again, that would get along with a lot of people. But yeah, two incredible rides here, amazing shoes. If I'm leaning towards one shoe, I'm still going to go the Neo Vista, and that's just because of how efficient you feel in the shoe. It is just supreme. I absolutely love this ride, and I don't want to take anything away from the Balos. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. Keen to hear your thoughts on my comparison between these two shoes. If you've got any questions regarding of anything I've missed, of how these two shoes compare to anything else as well, just drop that in the comments below. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time.